We turn finally this morning to an August anniversary of 85 years ago. It was at the Los Angeles Olympics of 1932 that Dr. Pat O'Callaghan won his second Olympic gold medal in the hammer throwing event. Just 50 years ago, he talked to Jimmy McGee about the hammer as it was thrown in his day, about his exclusion from the 1936 Berlin Olympics, and about sport as administered, as he remembered it, in the 1960s.
I started weight throwing with 56 pounds first, because I knew I was reasonably strong, and I was reasonably fast. I could run better than most, even light men.
When you say run, does this mean you mean sprinting?
Sprinting, yes, sprinting anything up to 400 yards. So then I decided, well, having seen some hammer throwers in action in Dublin, and only having seen them, I thought this event was a fascinating one, and I thought it combined necessary agility and a good deal of it with strength. So I decided I'd take it up.
Which he did in 1925. 3 years later in Amsterdam, Olympic champion.
Well, now, 1928 you were a medal winner, 1932 you were a medal winner.
Yes.
Which of the Olympic victories give you the greater satisfaction?
The first time, I suppose I sprung a surprise on myself and on everybody else, although always fancying that you had a chance. But the second time, well, you were the natural target for everybody in the games, hammer throwing. And you've got to carry the load of being the holder as well as go back and win it, which is very much more difficult.
And his biggest disappointment?
The biggest disappointment was to be standing on the side of the stadium in Berlin in 36, when I really was ahead of everybody, and we'll say at my best.
That followed a strict application of the rules concerning state boundaries. Ireland had competed up to 1932 as a 32-county team. Now the Olympics insisted that the 26 counties be the national boundary.
I was really ahead of everybody, and to be standing there to see your title going by default, just because we couldn't compete.
As a competitive hammer thrower, Pat O'Callaghan was self-taught.
I won an Irish championship without ever being close to a man throwing a hammer. You could hope to win, but now technique has brought performances to such a high level that there's nobody can have such a surplus amount of strength, strength and agility to hope to succeed. So I think coaching is an absolute necessity.
This interview half a century ago. The final question from Jimmy McGee.
Have you had a wish for the future in sport? What would it be?
It's difficult to think about a wish in our particular sport that I'd like that the athletes would have the control of sport in the country, and not, let me say, the sport politicians that make it a plaything for their own exaltation or use. I mean, we take our Olympic representatives. I'm talking about the people that govern it. They've never an association. They're just simply using sport as a platform to exalt themselves or to use it. I mean, that's an unreal position to be. But I hope, as the question you asked me, that I'd like to see the day when those would be all removed and we'd have the genuine athletes of sport controlling their own sport, which they should be quite capable of doing.
Pat O'Callaghan speaking in 1966, a case of if the cap fits.